Okay. Rearrange the camera real quick. Alright. Codeforces. So this is kind of like my first time on Codeforces. And we'll just try a problem from there. Just to get started. Before I do anything, I wanna make sure I put everything in the right place. Okay. Problem set. Okay. I guess that's the number of people solved. The difficulty. Okay. Yeah, so only 10 people, I'm guessing, solved this problem. And we can try the easiest problem. Alright, and the easiest seems to be 800. Alright, sure. So one hot summer day, Pete and his friend Billy decided to buy a watermelon. They choose the biggest and the ripest one. In their opinion, they choose the biggest and the ripest one in their opinion. After the watermelon was weighed and the scales showed W kilos, they rushed home, dying of thirst, and decided to divide the berry. However, they faced a hard problem. Peter and Billy are great fans of even numbers. That's why they want to divide the watermelon in such a way that each of the two parts weighs even number of kilos. Weighs even number of kilos. At the same time, it's not obligatory that the parts are equal. The boys are extremely tired and want to start their meal as soon as possible. That's why you would want to help them and find out if they can divide the watermelon in the way they want. For sure, each of them should get a part of positive weight. First and the only input line contains integer numbers and the weight of the watermelon bought by the boys. Print yes if the boys can divide the watermelon into two parts, each of them weighing even number of kilos, and no in the opposite case. Alright, well, so I wonder if there's a way to ID this. Doesn't matter, I guess. No. So take as input some value, which is I wonder how I should do. could make this into a boilerplate. It would be pretty good if I did. Okay. Something like that as the boilerplate. Already asserted that it was an integer. The weight of the watermelon bought by the boys. Yes. Can it be split evenly? If you just find one situation from 0 to 100. It really doesn't matter where I do any of this. One to 99. I'm gonna return the string yes. I'm guessing the no is the opposite case. And technically we don't need to do the whole thing. I think we can do half of that. But if we have an odd number, then it's always just going to be odd anyway. So I guess you can go will I be missing anything else? I know this won't be the most efficient either until I make it efficient. If I divide by 2 here, then what, you have 50 max. Dusty Praveen, Vim or Envim? It's Envim. Hello, Pokemon. Am I missing anything else? No, probably not. So 1 to 50. Go all the way up to 50. I see no problem with this, I think. So I can try running this with Python. I don't have Python. Do I have Python 3? Okay. Input is 100. Oh, a float object. Well, that might make sense. We'll see. Python. Well, 100 shows no when it should be a yes. So rip, I messed that up. Ah. Say val is 100 minus 2 98 mod 2. Would that not be? I thought it was. Unless I have to bracket stuff. I'm missing because of the brackets. I think it was. Okay. Where is it? Watermelon? Submit? How do I submit? Hello, Subucks. Oh. What? I wasn't logged in for some reason. Try tracing through the function with a few examples. 4, 6, 8, 10. See what pattern emerges. See what pattern emerges in terms of which values return yes and which return no. 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay. I mean, you have a 4. Should be yes. You have a 6. Should be yes. You have an 8. Should be yes. You have a 10. Should be yes. All the even numbers would be yes, it seems. For odd numbers, 1, 3, 5. All would be no. Right. You have 2. That would also be no. Submitted not Python. Man, I failed on the 3rd test case. How is the internship going, bro? Well, it finished. It already finished. So it was good. At the end of the day, it was good. But that's all I can say for now. Now at least. Okay, so 4 failed. Which is funny. It's okay. Why would 4 fail? Well, 1 to 2 means it's just 1 you consider, and that wouldn't be right. In this scenario, you wouldn't consider 2. You're considering 50. Then half of 50 is 25. So we would go up to 25. Right? Something like that. I would think. Okay. Joy boy. Thank you, man. We did it! Should be more confident in myself. Keyboard is how you can tell we got a cracked dev. Nah. I'm not that cracked. I'm not that cracked. There's more cracked people than me. For sure. What type of chair do you use, if you don't mind showing it? Was planning on getting a new one. Well, I wouldn't say mine is I wouldn't say I like mine that much, to be honest. But I was looking at like Herman Miller chairs. I do want a Herman Miller chair at one point. But this chair is like some, I actually can't see it. It's like, yeah, it just doesn't show. Yeah. It's like an Officeworks. Yeah, but I'm thinking of some Herman Miller chair, you know. When I have the funds to get it. Submit. Okay. I also have G Pro X, but got double click issue. Double click issue. I don't know how that would work. How's a, oh, like you can't double click, I'm guessing. Why would you ever want to double click something? Oh, I guess quick clicking, right? Yeah. Yeah, the funds are elusive. Like a 5-year-old gaming chair with peeling plastic leather. Yeah, fair enough. Yep. Got a few of those chairs as well around the house. Peeling plastic leather. The summer to stick to your ass. The peeling plastic. Or the peeling leather. Okay, so I solved that problem. Let's have a final look at it. Cool. Yeah, okay. By the way, was the internship from home or office? This was in the office. So I had to move. I really had to move to another state to take the internship. I hope it was worth it. Oh man, it was definitely worth it. You know, the people that I saw, the independence, all worth it. 100%. Ooh. I need to find problems maybe between the level. Let's just go for a 1K difficulty. There's a lot of 800s. There's a lot of 800s. Okay, a few 900s. Or should I go 1000s? Job market is so rough right now. Yeah. Yeah. NGMI, right? NGMI. It's alright. You just need a lucky break. You just gotta keep on applying. Eventually. I wish they didn't tell you what type of problem it might be, because I'm deterred to try some of these problems. Because I see those topics on the side. It's just random. Wait, random. Okay, so wherever okay, Sage's birthday. I feel like this is gonna be hard. As the AI move through the singularity. Yeah. Passes the event horizon. Yeah. How is Codeforce compared to Leetcode? It's different, right? Like just from a dev perspective, you're not writing in a single function anymore. You have to write your own function, so you have to have some sort of template ready every time. Like a script template, just like how I did like this main function before. But that's from like a net point of view. But I'm sure the problems here are also just better. I feel like you could leverage the fact that it gives you a rating for each of these problems. So if you feel like a particular problem is easy, you can move on to the next rating and then the next rating. That is if you solve those problems. So it's somewhat good in that sense. However, you lose the structure of learning per topic. That's what I'm considering. Those are kind of like the pros and cons that I'm considering at the moment. So, Sage's birthday. This is the one that I jumped in. What's your age? I think we might be of similar age. I'm like 20. I'm 22. Any good resources to prepare LLD, low level design rounds? To be honest, I will say that I haven't done proper low level design rounds. What is involved? Let me just search up LLD for a second. Never mind. If it is what I think it is, I just gotta double check. Amazon Elevator System LLD. Is it designing the system, right? It is just designing the system. Yeah, so I haven't properly done any of these. Low-level design during my interviews. But, you know, this is something I got to practice as well. I might pivot to data analytics instead of software. It's a little bit better, not by much, though. I see. Data analytics, is that similar to data science? System design is mainly for senior roles, right? Oh yeah, right. Yeah, the alternative name was system design. Oh, it's at code implementation level. Perhaps I need to find the difference right now. LLD vs system design. Well, system design refers to the overall process of defining a system's architecture. Low-level design represents a specific stage within system design, focusing on the detailed implementation of an individual component and modules, providing a much more granular level of detail compared to the broader system. Yeah, okay. I see. Yeah, I haven't had to do LLD except for TikTok, actually. I will say yes, I had to do it for TikTok, actually. When I did the interviews. In which, like, I passed the topics for low-level design, but I didn't pass, like, certain quizzes that they asked. For example, one of the questions was, since you know Python, if you had a dictionary within a tuple, can you modify the dictionary? Now, what do you guys think? What do you guys think to that question? If you had a tuple, if you had a dictionary in a tuple, can you modify the dictionary? We good, we don't know. You think no? Yeah, that's what I thought too. That's what I thought too. Unfortunately, you can modify the dictionary, even if it's in a tuple. Even if the tuple is immutable, the reason for it, the reason why, is because the dictionary that is in the tuple is actually just a reference to the dictionary. Right? Because the dictionary is just another data structure, but the tuple holds the reference to that dictionary and not the actual dictionary data structure within that tuple. Right? So if it's just a reference, then it's a reference to that dictionary, which that dictionary still has the properties of mutability, I guess. You know, it still has the mutability property. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Pokemon. Does the quizzes depend upon the language of our choice, or is it random? So I think it was very specific to my interview, and it could depend on your interviewer, because it was dependent on the language that I chose. I chose Python. They were like, "How comfortable are you with Python?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable." And they were like, "Okay, answer me this question." Answer me this question. You know, I told them exactly what Junaid said. Right. So it's lang based and not random, or else I'm cooked. Yeah. It's whatever language you're familiar with. You know, like, I think the main takeaway from that question really is just know what you're referencing, know what's being referenced. And you would know this stuff best if you've studied C in the past, right? Or C++. I don't know actually if C++. Actually, I haven't touched C++, so I'm just guessing that C++ also has referencing. Like more explicit referencing. C++ for DSA and JavaScript. Very good. I did not start with C++ for DSA. Actually, started with C for DSA when I did it in uni, but now I'm just doing Python DSA. I'm currently learning Golang, how to cross the phase of me being comfortable with syntax. I'm pretty sure that just comes down to practice. You just have to use Golang more. Right? I think it all comes down to practice. You know, how do you become a good competitive programmer? You got to do more practice. Yeah. Yeah, build projects. That's true. That would help. Definitely. Okay. Right. So back to that problem. We'll try this. So Sage's birthday easy version. The easy version of the problem, the difference between the version is that in the easy version, all prices are different. Okay. You can make hacks if and only if you solved both versions of the problem. And my understanding, when they say hacks here, it means extra scenarios that could try and hack other people's solutions. So other test cases, right? So when you hack something, I think you are basically saying you can create some test cases that may break other people's solutions. Okay, so today is Sage's birthday, and she will go shopping to buy ice cream, not to ice spheres. To buy ice spheres. All n ice spheres are placed in a row, and they are numbered from 1 to n, from left to right. Question is, what if I can't solve this problem? I can't see the solution, can I? Contest materials? Tutorial. Sure. So each ice sphere has a positive integer price. In this version, all prices are different. An ice sphere is cheaper. It costs strictly less than 2 neighboring ice spheres. An ice sphere is cheap. The nearest to the left and the nearest to the right. The leftmost and the rightmost ice spheres are not cheap. Sage will choose all cheap ice spheres and then buy only them. You can visit the shop before Sage and reorder the ice spheres as you wish. Find out the maximum number of ice spheres that Sage can buy, and show how the ice spheres should be reordered. Whoa, okay. So the first line contains a single integer, which is the number of ice spheres in the shop, and the second line contains n different integers, the prices of the ice spheres. In the first line, you print the maximum number of ice spheres that Sage can buy. In the second line, print the prices of ice spheres in the optimal order. If there are several correct answers, you can print any of them. So in this example, it is not possible to place ice spheres in any order so that Sage would buy 3 of them. If the ice spheres are placed like this, 3, 1, 4, 2, 5, then Sage will buy 2 spheres. And in this case, it'll be 1 and 2, right? Yeah, 1 for 1 and 1 for 2, because they are cheap. So I want to read this one more time. So an ice sphere is cheap if it costs strictly less than 2 neighboring ice spheres. Yeah, okay. The nearest to the left and the nearest to the right. The leftmost and the rightmost ice spheres are not cheap. Ah, right. They can never be cheap, right? Basically. It will choose all cheap ice spheres and then buy only 1 of them. I'm trying to think. So, okay. So you want to reorder them. Well, that's a great question. How could you ever reorder stuff like this? A binary search, a constructive algorithms, greedy sortings, and times 1000. What do these problem tags mean? Boy, you can just start anytime, man. You know, maybe if you can't get something because of your Leetcode skills this year, if you start practicing now, you can definitely get something next year. You know what I mean? Definitely. And if you don't try, you will never see the benefits of your results, of your actions that you haven't taken just yet. Well, I'm at a loss of how to even solve this. Did I jump too fast? Did I jump too many? I'd be interested to know the solution. Am I interested to sit and try and figure it out? To an extent. How are you meant to reorder things? Do you literally switch numbers in place? Do you do dynamic programming? It's not stated here. For 1, it's going to be 0. For 2, it's going to be 0. For 3, it's got to be 1. For 4, it's got to be 1. For 5, it's got to be 2. But how do you know what to switch and when? And should you switch them? This is a cooked question. Submit and status. Some people accepted. Wrong answer on test 8. So I feel okay. You know, people will have wrong answers. Standings. Holy shit. Does the problems here mean they did 10,000 problems? This is the equivalent of like 10,000 hours. You know, this guy's like cracked. I can star it. So what is this? Autoplay Valorant because the context is related to it for some reason. We're actually talking about Sage, as in Sage. The person from Valorant. The healer from Valorant. One problem has an easy version and a hard version, which is that Sage problem. You'll have to help the agents from the game to grind that rating. Try your best as if you're playing ranked and they are your teammates. Well, this is also fitting. Problem statements are short, but they are a bit long. Oh wow. Wow, why are there 30 negatives? Downvotes, I should say. arrowing problem statements to reveal solutions. Is that something we can actually do? This was 4 years ago? We're talking this is at the start of Valorant. Damn. Team submissions, problem setting, favorite. Final standing. Okay. I'm still trying to fully understand what's happening here. Is there a way for me to see my favorites? Oh, this is a nice chart. This is literally like Leetcode. Okay, favorites. Oh, so these are the 6 questions. Ah, I did start the actual round. Yeah, so I'm guessing there's oh Leetcode status, my sub. So status, if I looked at somebody else's, I can, right? Direct link and a copy. Compare source. Ooh. Oh, NA. So I'm guessing you can't see other people's answers. Is that why? Sage's birthday easy. Go to the number. Copy the source. Well, I gotta see my clipboard. NA, it's just NA, so it's still just NA. So I'm guessing people hide their results as well. Maybe. Not me trying to find the answers somehow. But actually I am. So it does say this is a greedy binary search. Sorting. Three, four, five. Could I not take, the first half and the second half? Take the first half and the second half. So all prices are different. Right, I see now. Can I make some assertion about the size? Can I say that if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you take 1, 3, and 5. Sorry, you take 3, 4, and 5, and then put 1 and 2 in between each of those. And that would work. Could I say that if you have a 7, 10, on top of these 5, I'm gonna go, okay, let me do this. On top of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you have 7, 10 maybe. So you could put 4, 5, 7, and 10. You can put 1, 2, 3 in between all of those. You could also put 5 in between the 7 and 3, 7 and 10. And then you could put the 3 in between the 4 and 7. something like that. Yeah, well, it's not very clear to me then that would do this any other way. It's almost like a 2-pointers approach. Getting a call, it seems. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, well, okay. I feel like I'd have more fun doing Leetcode problems right now. So collapse that for now, you know. Hey, fuck Codeforces, we back to Leetcode. I mean, I think I'm just probably picking the wrong problems. And also, well, not wrong problems, but yeah, there's no motivation to think about it right now. Fuck. Someone who wants to get into competitive programming, that's not a good sign. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Fine, we'll do a dynamic programming problem for today. Let's say this will be the last problem that I do today. The main concern is I just want to see I'm on track to doing stuff. So I did a problem on Codeforces. I'm happy about that. So we still did not do stuff there. Yeah, so we can basically say we'll do one more dynamic programming problem. We'll just do it here. Interleaving string. You're given 3 strings, S1, S2, S3. Return true if S3 is formed by interleaving S1 and S2 together, or false. Otherwise. Interleaving 2 strings, S and T is done by dividing S and T into N and M substrings respectively. Okay, so interleaving 2 strings, S and T, is done by dividing S and T into N and M substrings respectively, where the following conditions are met. N minus M is less than or equal to 1. The difference between the number of substrings of S and T is at most 1. S is equal to S1, S2, Sn. T is T1, T2, Tm. Interleaving S and T, ST, ST, or TS, TS. Assuming that, yeah, the difference is at most 1, right? You may assume that S1, S2, S3 consist of lowercase English letters. N and M substrings. Okay, right. Into 2 and 3 substrings or something. 2 substrings and 3 substrings respectively, something like that. You can turn this into 2 substrings and you turn this into 1 substring. Cool. And then if you have empty substrings, then ABC, XYZ, ABX, ZCY is false because we can't split. ABXZCY, the order of characters is not maintained. The order of characters being maintained is important. We need to return true or false, correct? So this is almost like a base case where we don't split. Okay, this is cooked. This is a very cooked question, and yet it's only medium. We're going to need a recursive relation for this. I want to stand for a minute, get some water while I process this question. Well, it's gonna be cooked. It's gonna be cooked. What do we do here? I gotta give myself a hint. I gotta think. What would someone who knows this problem say? A and A. A and B get X. Can't get Z. So say you have something like A, B, X, D, Y, Z. Then for AB, to split from B, because C and X aren't the same. You see X and you split X. And then the remaining C is what we use. Oh, what we see that Y is not C. So, but S1 is C. So you take the C, and we take nothing left from S1. Does the last two values match YZ? Yes. And we take it. But how do you do this switching? A, B, switch to S2 to take the X. Then you switch to S1 to get the C, and then you switch to Y. Switch to S2 to get Y and Z. Even with that, right? This is almost like a maintaining 2 pointers type of problem. And if we can't reach the end, then we would return false. But if we could reach the end, then we can return true. So in a 2 pointers approach, I think this is still as big as O of M plus n, I should say. Yeah, this is only as big as m plus n if we are to do this in a 2 pointers approach. Although would it work yeah, it would always be asserted that n minus n minus m absolute is less than or equal to 1. It would always be asserted of that fact. I don't know. I mean, a two-pointers approach seems reasonable here. I see this as a two-pointers approach. I cannot see it as a dynamic programming. But yet we still need to do this in dynamic programming. So there are recursive relation here that I'm missing. If we were to reduce y and remove the y, you had AB x y z. If you remove the a, AA to there, BBBB, BB, AA, BB, AABB. My guess is you only consider as much as is in S3. If S3 has only 2 letters, A and A, and S1 and S2 has 4 letters, well, it could be that S1 has 1 letter, S2 has 1 letter, or S2 has no letters, S1 has 2 letters. And S2 has 2 letters, S1 has no letters. It has no letters. You see that. Then if any is true, you would return true. Otherwise you would return not true. So maybe you have a 2D DP where the size is of mn. So that is n times m. But that is still worse than a solution that is O of n plus m. Because this seems like a really easy two-pointers problem, right? If you're just to return true or false. It seems like the optimal solution would be a two-pointers problem. Regardless, what I think I'll try to do is just state it. Or you have a O of m plus n dp, whereby they're just separate dp's. Perhaps I don't think that makes sense. How can I make it grow? If you have AA, you know that AA, you know that 1 and 2 and 0. 2 and 0 gives you true for AA. You now add a B. Now that you add a B, 2 and 0 becomes 2 and 1. Which is true. So 2 and 1 you get dp of 2 and 1. We look at dp of 2 and 0. Or dp of 1 and 1. Could I say? dp of 1 and 1 is false. Could I also say Pokemon, you don't use pen and paper for pseudocode? I try not to, mainly because when it comes to like a technical interview, if we have a virtual screen, then it's probably most likely going to just be typed up. That's what I'm thinking. But when there's in-person interviews, that's going to be when in-person interviews come back. That's going to be a different story. You know, sometimes I do still use pen and paper, but I can't show you guys, can I? That well, that easily. So if it was 1 and 1, then it means A and B. A and B obviously can't do it for us. It can't do it for us for A and A. And we have to do a condition where the value we are considering at the very moment is equal to the value the value right now. Maybe. Yeah, the value right now. 1. Yeah. And this is 2 plus 1. Okay. And I should say maybe this is like 2 minus 1. And this is 1 minus 1. And so that was if you had just A and B, right? And say you had AAB or ABB, then this is where you would have this second condition from here all the way to the end. This is where that would be useful. So 2 plus 1, I'm guessing, is equal to S1, 1. S1, 2. Because the 1, the 2 here corresponds to the B. The B. Confusing that I also have 1s. I have 1s everywhere. So if you had A and B already, and there was another B to be considered, equal to I think this is the right track. Okay, so from my understanding, the recurrence relation is something like if you're given A and B, where A is the substring ending at index A for string 1. and B is the ending index of the substring of S2. Alright, see ya, Pokemon. Catch you later. Then what we have is probably a recurrence relation like B minus 1 and 3 is A plus B. So double check this. So because we have 2 and 1, of 2 A's and 1 B, and a S3 is of the, if you combine these two numbers, is 3, so it's going to be the 4th position. So we are looking for the 4th position. So A plus B makes sense here. Is equal to S2 of 1, 1 being the 1st position, the 2nd position, the 2nd position. And the 2nd position is B. Is it? So in the example of AAB, where we are trying to now grab another B, do we increment the B from S2 or S1? If it's S2, we're going for 2 B's to be what we need to consider. And then this means that you have 2, 1. Oh. So the DP of 2, 1. Actually, I need the DP of 2, 2, which is AABB. So we're going this minus 1. Right? That's a minus 1. And we're including B. So 2, so 0, 1, B minus 1. Alright, that's 1. Or DP of A minus 1, B, and S3. So again, it's still just A plus B minus 1. and this is equal to S through S1 of A minus 1. So when you reach zeros, so when you have 0, 0, this is equal to true. And all the A's and B's, I think this is the recurrence relation, what I think. Right. We can try it. Okay, so I might just do that. I might just do this straight up. So for A in range of S1, from 1 to +1, for B in range of 1 dp is initialized to something. We initialize it to all zeros times n and m, right? All right, n is equal to len of S1. M is equal to len of S2. S1 n, S2 m. M for S2, yeah. For something in range of n. And I think we should have +1. Oh my god, what the heck was that? Okay. N and M. Output was 0, but you expected a boolean. Yeah, so this is gonna be a problem. Oh wait, this is true. Holy moly. I got the test cases. I did get the test cases. So I am happy with that so far. Like that means I am getting places, but what's the error here? So this error comes from the fact that you're given S1 and S2 that isn't equal to S3. So maybe we just do a check here. If n plus m does not equal to s len of S3, you return false. Okay. My output was true when you expect a false. If true and is value or. So this should evaluate to false, right? Let me see. So if you have I'm gonna think about this. I'm gonna sit. Okay, so if you have A, nothing, and C, when you start with 0, that'll be nothing and nothing. Go to the next value, it's a C. So maybe I can draw this iPad real quick. Down, A's, cross, start from 0 now. Nothing, dot, basically nothing, and then you have A. Then, so when you got this scenario, nothing and nothing would give you true. Okay, so say it gives you true, and then you look at 1 and 0. 0, 1, 0. Okay, so 0, 0, and then 0, 1. So 1, 0. 1, 0. Is that not defined? Yeah, that's not defined. Okay. If A equals 0 and B equals 0, then return you continue. Otherwise, when you reach these zeros, it's going to be a problem. Because you're going to go look at the negative. If you have this equals 0 or this equals 0, actually, you know what? Maybe I need to just preempt. So if you have 1 and 0, this is equal to S1 of 1. Wait, can I assert? No, it could be 0. It could be 0. If it could be 0, doesn't matter. Ooh. Bring index out of range for sure. Right, so this is the problem that I was thinking of exactly. If n is greater than 0, m is greater than 0, that's also still out of range. Thought I added 1. Alright. Wait. S1 equal to S3. So that's failing on step 16. So, right, in this case, this is 0. Right, S1 is 0. So 0 plus 1, you only get 1. And 0 plus 1, you only get 1. So dp of 0, 0 should equal to 0, or true. I don't know. I'm just going to try something crazy. Unconventional. Okay, it was false. When it's still meant to be true. Which is interesting. Because if I remove these two, index out of range again. That is concerning. What? Sorry. How was the test cases passed here? And this is still exactly that. Oh, right. Started from 1 and not from 0. Zero, 0. Right. Right. If A equals B, A equals 0, and B equals 0, continue. String issues again. if n is greater than 0, n is S1. So you don't do this check. Surely this should work now. DBD CBB. DB CBB. If you have D and C, or B and C, that should be false. And yet it's shown as true. Rehan, how many problems have you done today? In general, Probably around 130 problems now. But today, probably around like 4 or 5. It's been the most in a long while I've done this many problems. So DNC would be false. True and false should be false, right? I just gotta double check. Yeah. Something else that's happening here. True, false. Your output is true, expected output is false. Okay. So if we had just had that's fine. True and false. Yeah. False, true, false, false. Evaluates in total the false. And then true, true, false, true. True, true. So this is for A and B. For what's A's and B's? A is 2. So B. We're here. Okay. And this is a B minus 1. So B and nothing. Or C and B. Should be false. Two and 1 becomes 2 and 0. Two and 0 is default to true. Maybe it should be default to false. It defaults to -1. Actually, this is going to be an interesting way to do things, but Yeah, no, I'm making it too complex now. Just removed all of that. Remove all of this as well. Just had this. Alright, control D still. If I had this, it would pass most things. Change this to false. It wouldn't pass the first thing, but it would pass the second. If I change this to -1, maybe. How would it populate? In this scenario, when you're doing the for loops, goes through the A's first. The first is true. But all the subsequent ones should be false. All the subsequent ones should be false. Why? All subsequent ones up to n should be false. Or it should be A something A something nothing, or A something C would be false in that case. B something CB, ABCB should be based off what it was previously and what that recent value is. Almost exactly what this function does. So still fill that in. that we should do this. If A is equal to 0 and B is equal to 0. We just continue because we already figured that out. If A is equal to 0, then you only do this first half. If B is equal to 0, then you only do the second half. Else, I solved it. I solved my first DP problem. I mean, not my first DP problem, my like 50th DP problem. But I solved it for the first time myself. Without looking at the solutions at all. How many wrong answers before the right one? We did it. After 130 Leetcode problems and studying DP from Competitive Programmers Handbook, we can now finally solve a DP problem. Oh yeah, that feels good. We got there in the end, but it was just basically like getting stuck on actually programming it. Interesting. I should think about things harder before coding out solutions like this, I think. Hello, Roachi. Hello, Roachi. GG. I'm waiting for the GG. Kasaharame. Hello, man. Guy you can trust. DPs are satisfying once you understand the recurrence relation and how you transform that into bottom up. Exactly. And so I was really happy that I was able to do this bottom up right off the bat also. Why you switch to Codeforces? I'm not switching to Codeforces, I just want to add it to my arsenal, so to speak. I want to do more competitive programming stuff, so I'll try some Codeforces stuff as well. I did one problem. It was like one of the easier ones. I still failed like 2 or 3 times before getting the right solution. But Leetcode is enough, right, for you know, don't get me wrong, Leetcode is enough for interview prep. I'm doing Codeforces for fun. Okay, I might make this look better. Okay, I said could be solved with 2 pointers. Maybe I won't make it look better. I think this looks fine just as is. I want to look at the solution. However, I want to also try this solution on Leetcode. It was accepted. It was accepted. Okay, now I feel good. They offer different problems. Like I know Leetcode has a specific graph problem on finding cut edges, not cut vertices. It's just one example I see. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna save this first in Ghosty. You've been applying to other companies? Yes. Surprisingly enough, yes. All the ones. All the ones. Everyone that I can find. Basically. No. I gotta rename. In about an hour. I'll give you some referrals when I get there, man. Okay, interleaving string. Now that I am done with it, I can look at the solutions. Now this is a 2D DP. And why it's a tree maze. I'm still surprised there's no two pointers approach to this. Why wouldn't there be? Because this would still be of n times m. Time complexity. Alright, let's see.
Hey everyone, welcome back, and let's write
some headphones. We'll look at this problem anyway together.
Some more Leetcode today. So today let's solve interleaving string. So in this problem, we're given a list of 3 strings. Well, not really a list, but we're given 3 strings, S1, S2, and S3. And we just want to know a simple question. Can we form the string S3 by interleaving the strings S1 and S2? An interleaving string is basically when you take 2 strings and split them up into, substrings, and then you add them together. Now, they have a description over here, but I kind of feel like this description actually just made things more complicated for me, like with the absolute value difference being at most 1, taking these strings, forming them together. Basically, what we're saying is, can we take the string 1 and string 2, split them into substrings, like you can see string 1 is split into this one, and this one, and notice how the relative order of these 3 is maintained. That's very important. And this other string was also split into 2 portions, this one, and the relative order of the characters was maintained. You can see that this D, B, B, C goes in the front, and the A goes at the end. So the relative order is important, but that's it. We can split the strings in any way that we want and then add them together, and we just want to know, doing that, can we form the 3rd string? So the first thing you might notice is, well, if we're taking these strings, splitting them, of course the total number of characters has to match the total number of characters in string 3, and yes, that's true. It will have to match, and in this case it does. We have 10 characters in the output, and each of these strings is 5. 5 plus 5 equals 10. So once you kind of understand what an interleaving string actually is, the logic of this problem isn't too complicated, right? For example, we see that the first character in string 3 is A, right? So for sure we need at least one of the characters from S1 or S2 to start with an A, right? Because we can't just take an A from the middle of one of these strings and then say, okay, we'll put that at the beginning, because remember, the relative order of each of these strings has to be maintained. So at least one of them has to start with an A, and we can see that the first string over here does start with an A. Right, so it's kind of brute force. We're just comparing the first positions of each of the input strings, right? So now we have a D, and we can choose between an A and a D in either of the strings, but we're looking for an A in the target string, so we're going to again pick from the first string, and we can cross that out. So now we have another sub problem. We have the remaining portion of this and the entire portion of this string, right? So, and we're kind of just brute forcing it. Obviously, if we got to a character such, let's say at this position we had a Z, but when you look at both of the strings that we have, neither of them have a Z. In that case, it would basically mean it's impossible for us to continue at this point. But what if we had the opposite? What if we had a B over here, and you can see that this position is also a B, right? And let's say we were looking for a B, right? So then which one of these are we going to take? Are we going to take the B from string 2 or the B from string 1? That's the backtracking or the brute force portion, right? We could take either of them. So we pretty much have to make a decision in our decision tree that we are going to choose both. We're going to see if we do it either of these ways, is it possible for us to take these 2 strings, interleave them together to build the output string, right? Because maybe one of the ways works, but the other way doesn't. We do.
Yeah, because of this case where B and B could be at the start. You don't know which one to take to increment the 2-pointer.
Do have to try both of the ways, but it turns out we can use a dynamic programming technique called caching, where we can eliminate a bunch of repeated work. So therefore, the time complexity of the solution can actually be broken down to M times N, where M is the size of one string and N is the size of the other string. And you can actually, instead of doing caching, you can actually do a true dynamic programming solution that will also give you this time complexity. I'll explain a little bit about both of those. So let me just kind of show you what the decision tree for this problem would look like, and then how we're actually going to do the caching. So notice how we're going to start at the beginning of both of the strings, and we're also going to start at the beginning of the 3rd string, right? We're looking for this character. Can we get it from either of string 1 or string 2, right? So that's kind of how our decision tree is going to work. We're going to have one pointer, let's call it I1, which is going to represent what position we're at in S1, and we're going to have another pointer, let's call it I2. 2, it's a little bit messy, but I2 is going to represent the position we're at in string 2. And we're going to have a third pointer over here. Let's call it I3, right? But do you notice that this pointer is always going to be the addition of I1 and I2? If we add these pointers together, we're always going to get this one, right? Because notice how, they're both initially at 0, right? 0 plus 0 is going to equal 0, which is the first one here. If we increment one of them, right? If we take this pointer and shift it over here, this is going to be 1. So we're going to take 1 plus 0, add it together, and we're going to get at the position position 1, which is going to be over here. And that makes sense because if we use a character from here, that's going to take up the character that's over here. So that's kind of how the math works out. So in reality, we just have to keep track of 2 pointers. The third pointer can be calculated for the position of this string. So we start at the position 0, 0. The first 0 indicates what position we're at over here. Second pointer indicates where we're at over here. And we're going to compare. So does this equal this character? Of course it does, right? D does not equal A, but A equals A. So we can shift our pointer over here and shift our pointer over here. So in this case, we didn't have to make 2 decisions. We just had an easy job. We just had to make 1 decision. So let's call that 1, 0 because we shifted our first pointer to the position 1. And now I'm going to go kind of fast because I think you probably get what we're going to do. So once again, this is the character that matches in string 3. So we can shift both of our pointers to the next position. And once again, we incremented the first pointer. So we're going to be at 2, 0. And in this case, B does not match D, but this character does. So once again, let's shift our pointers by 1. And in this case, we shifted the second pointer. So let's call that 2, 1. I don't really know why I'm drawing.
Okay. Look, I gotta eat now. So I might just leave it here, but I'll watch the rest of this video offline. But thank you guys for taking along. I'm gonna just go eat dinner now. So good that I finished this DP problem myself solely without looking at the solutions ever. Oh yeah. Alright, goodbye. Peace.